Today we're at part 4 of a 4-part series of what religious science does in talking about what New Thought is during the first month of the year to get us prepared for it. And for those that were here and for those that weren't here, I want to summarize the first 3 weeks. Number 1 was entitled The Thing Itself, which is where we expanded our picture of God, of goddess, of higher power and higher source within ourselves, not this judgmental being that we grew up with. But we found out that God is all there is. God is all there is. All of you, all of everything is God. God is omnipresent, therefore everywhere. There is no place where source is not. If you feel separate from God, it's not true. It's only your own thought. God is omnipotent, all-powerful. And one of the goals is for us to get in touch with our own personal power, how to allow God to express through us that way. God is omniscient, all-knowing. We talk here about to see as God sees, to know as God knows, in our own mind, to be like in the mind of God and know what that energy is about. And God is a principle, a law, and a law works for the good of all. Number 2, we go from that to the way it works. God is spirit, or this formless spirit. It's life. It takes form within our lives. Life and God works for us by working through us. So again, it relates to number 1. God is everywhere present, working through us. Take that in, that God is always there to work through you in everything that you need. And God takes form through us, through our thoughts and our feelings, whether they're conscious or unconscious. So not only is God in this form here, but what's the other form you want? New car, money, prosperity, health, relationship, it's all form, and God is in every part of it. Love and law is part of that as well. God is personal. Love is personal because it's the movement of spirit as feeling inside of ourselves, as emotion, as ideas, as potential in what we have for our lives. Law is impersonal because it is our own response. It doesn't take choices. It doesn't say, oh, I'll work for you and not you. It works for everybody. But again, it's regarding our own thoughts because its nature is to provide for us and to give to us what it has. Number 3 last week was what it does. So Spirit God gives life and fulfillment to our existence. It is not complete until it can take form. Take that in. God is still growing. Everything that we ask for, Spirit is there. The law says, ask and you shall receive. And it expands God more because we're expanding God within our form here and what it is that we're looking for in our lives and everybody that we relate to. And so, therefore, each and every one of us, everybody is important in this universe because we give form to God. That's what we're here to do. To be in this physical body and let God express through us as God energy is the way it wants to. So that's our job, beloveds, to be here to allow it to do its job. So today, how do we use it if that's its job? Actually, you're already using it, whether you're conscious of it or not conscious of it. You've always used it, and you will use it in the future. Whether you're still connected to religious science or New Thought, there's a part of you that's still going to understand how it works. But there's probably a big part that still doesn't understand how it works, but that doesn't stop it from working. It's there for us all the time. So maybe rather than trying to understand the whole process, we could just say, okay, I'm going to admit that you're working for me and I'll open up to that. I'll say yes, because yes can lead us into such wonderful ways. The difference is we can really get conscious more. That's our goal, and that's one of the words that I had on the list that we'll get back to later. To get really conscious of what we want to experience in our lives. What is the form we want to, whether it's our marriage, our job, our health, any of that. How do we want to open ourselves up to take this energy into ourselves in our life and the world as a whole, because there is no separation from God. So as we're doing it for ourselves, we're doing it for other people, providing that opportunity. So a post office received a letter addressed to God in a child's scroll. The postal employee decided to open the letter. It read, "Dear God, my name is Jimmy. I'm 6 years old. My father is dead and my mother is having a hard time raising me and my sister. Would you please send us $500. The postal employee was so touched by this, he shared the letter with the other employees. So they decided to take up a collection, put in some money, and they came up with $300. So a couple of weeks later, a second letter arrived from Jimmy. He thanked God, but he ended with this request. Next time, would you please mail the money directly to our home? If you send it through the post office, they take out $200. So the question from that is, have you ever felt shortchanged in your own finances in life? Your relationships, your health, or your business? Possibly that's what brought you to New Thought in the first place, feeling not totally open, not totally you. Because your soul is whole and complete. It's here for its growth. It's here for you to experience all of it. And maybe we weren't feeling that. Maybe there's sometimes we feel that now. We question, why am I lacking in this? Or so it seems that I'm lacking. Why is this not coming to me as quickly as I want? It should be no surprise to us that New Thought is more than just a Sunday service where we come and listen to the talk and the music, but then Monday and Friday we go back home and we keep going on thinking and doing exactly as we did before. New Thought is a teaching, but more than that, it's a practice, meaning you have to practice it over and over again to make it work. Open to the law. It's kind of like when you enter the weight loss program. There's a lot of them going on around right now, but I know when I would read the ads or listen to the ads, what they tell you is this is not a weight loss program, but a lifetime program of balanced eating and exercise. A program where you have to stay conscious to what it is that you're eating, how much water you drink, how much food you eat, what you eat, how do you exercise. So therefore, what they're really talking about is consciousness. Be aware of what you're doing and practice it. Well, it's a practice associated with food. New Thought is a practice associated with your soul. And it leads us to a whole new way of living, a new perception of our life and everybody else's life and the higher truth that's there. Why are we here? That's what this is all about. And it gives us the opportunity to access this principle, which we call God, to raise the quality of our livingness, to look at a principle that always works, is always there. There's nothing that changes it. There's nothing that blocks it from working. That's what its job is. So think about that for your own experience, because as an ex-painting contractor, I used to have a toolbox with me, and it had the regular tools that some of you guys know about: hammers, screwdrivers, pliers, etc. But over the years, as I was painting, there were new tools that would come out, new brushes for painting, new things for this or that. So I would get them, but it took me a while to learn how to use them, right? So that I could be familiar as I did with the hammer and the screwdriver and the pliers. So to begin any practice, you have to start right where you're at. You can't say, oh, I already know how to do this, when in fact you don't. But I'm going to start right here. This is something I want to learn. And that's what we do here at Fellowship of Spirit. We all come here to say, I'm here at this moment, what I know, and I want to go further with it. I want to learn more about this practice. So we can look at that with everything in our lives. If you want to enjoy a different kind of work, you want a different job, something that would give you more joy and happiness inside, then you have to begin with the job you have now. What do I like about it? What don't I like about it? What do I want? That's a good question for us to always ask. What do I want? Because the fact is, you created the work that you're in right now through your unconscious or conscious mind and said, this is what I want to do, or it just fell into your laps, or it was an unconscious thing that happened. Whatever it was, and whatever we believe about work, because we have all sorts of thoughts about work, whatever messages that we took from our past have all created the present moment of our job. We may not be totally happy with it, but this is the opportunity to go, okay, this is where I'm at right now. These are the thoughts that led me here. Where do I want to be, and what thoughts do I need to change to get there? What do I need to practice more in my life? It's the same with everything. If we're unhappy with our intimate relationships, if we don't feel like we have any friends, rather than going around going, oh, poor me, I have no friends, I don't know how to do it, we got to start right where we are. Who do we have in our life? What talents, what abilities do I have that maybe I'm not expressing in my life, and I need to do that more? We can't just pretend that what we've created will just disappear. It has to work through our thoughts and our emotions if we want to expand more and more. It's the same thing about intimate relationships, being married. Because a huge question that comes up about that and the work that I do is about trust. How do I trust somebody else? And we have to know that we're at the level of trust that we've taken from our past life, from our background. Where do we not trust ourselves? That we're not trusting somebody else. So we have to start right now. What do I need to change in my own thinking? In all of my emotions that I may have to release so that I can move forward in connecting more and just saying yes to God. Not worrying about what's going to come my way, but just saying yes, which is what brought me here. I've told you that lots of times. If my mind had tried to figure out the steps I needed to do to get here, it could never have figured it out. Our mind can't figure that stuff out. It's God guiding us, principle and law within us. And we have to say, yes, God, this is what I want. This came my way. Yes, this is where I'm at right now. Let go of the past and move into the now. So we have some work to do in our own lives. We're starting in this area with any of it. It's the same with our health. Sometimes if you're feeling tired or no energy or it's puny sort of thing, or maybe we have chronic diseases to experience. Again, you have to start with wherever you're at. No judgment, no blame. Okay, this is where I'm at. This is where my health is at. What more do I want? I want to release old thoughts about my health. I want to release whatever's going on in mass consciousness in society right now because I don't have a part of that unless I choose to. I want to start where I'm at right now and just open up to God and law and principle and say, I want more, help me out. So that's why I always ask, because you have to get to the feeling aspect of it. And I tell my clients, with your life, ask yourself when something's going on, how do I feel about that? It's important to feel. We don't pay enough attention to it, beloveds, in our society. Everybody thinks everything's a mental disease or something, when in fact, it's an emotional upset or a block, and we're feeling something we haven't expressed before. So how do I feel? I feel tired. I feel scared right now. I feel angry about this. I feel happy. I feel joyful. Whatever it is we want to do, start asking that question and get it into, because it leads us to where we want to go. If I feel not the way I totally want to feel, then I have some sense of what steps I need to do, where I need to go. I'm feeling this way, but I want to feel this way. Good. What do you need to do to get there? Change my thoughts, say yes, be open to it. Yes?
And be grateful when we feel wonderful.
I'm getting to that. And be grateful for everything that's in your life. Be grateful ahead of time before it even gets there. Ask for what you want and say, thank you, God, it's coming my way. Gratitude, as I said earlier, is a really strong person. And you have to do this because some people were taught in here and in the world to not feel. We were told, oh, it's not okay to do that, or stuff your feelings inside. Be quiet, shut up, don't do this, don't do that. So we stuffed everything inside. That's why we need to get it out so we can move forward. So there's some tools. As I mentioned earlier, I had a toolbox with us. We have this in Science of Mind and New Thought. Some of the tools are affirmations, which we're going to talk about, prayer, and spiritual mind treatment. So I want to go over those three with you. Let's start with affirmations. Every time we think and speak, we are making an affirmation. That is very powerful to know. Every time I'm thinking a thought, it's a thought form that's being manifested out there in the world. Every time I speak something, I'm speaking my truth and it's manifesting in the world. I'm saying an affirmation. So we want to get clear of what the heck we're thinking of and what we're speaking. And some negative ones I want to share with you that create havoc in our lives are these. I'm sick and tired of. Give me a break. I can't afford it. Life sucks. I don't have enough time to. Or if somebody asks you, how are you? And you go, fair to middling. What? You know, we may feel, did you feel some stress or negativity when I said those statements? Did you feel the energy of it? Yeah, so there's a lot of things that happen in our circumstances in our life that sometimes tend to repeat themselves. Why is that? Because we keep saying the statements that make it real. It's like You go into a doctor's office and maybe you're not impressed with the staff. They're not open to you or not really communicating. They're caught up in their own world. Or they're not doing exactly what they said they were supposed to do for us. So we're using the expression, I'm sick and tired of going to the doctor's office. I'm sick and tired of dealing with those people. What energy are we setting up in ourselves and those people right there? It may seem harmless enough, and it's a cliche that things come out of our mouth out of a lot, but Ernest Holmes said, so plastic is the mind, so receptive, that the slightest thought makes an impression upon it. The slightest thought makes an impression and then creates in your world. So what happens when the law, the principle, or the law of action responds to that statement, I'm sick and tired, as well as the rest of the statement, whatever it is, then what are you saying? I'm sick and tired. Therefore, your body is becoming prone to illness, lack of energy. Whatever it is that you're saying, I'm sick and tired. And then the rest of the statement, tired of whatever it is, sets up a negative energy between you and that situation. So, we have two things to work on in that situation. One, let's change our thinking so we're in a place where we're expecting to be served in all our business and dealings with efficiency.
Amen.
Have that thought that from now on, rather than focusing on what's going on in the doctor's office or at Walmart or wherever it is, no, from now on, I'm in charge of my life, ain't I?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm telling you. So why don't I change my thoughts and say, from now on, when I go there, I dealt just right. People deal with me. They open up. Whatever it is that you want to say. It's that easy as just changing the thought. We all get into that. I've even been at times in the past, and sometimes it probably still comes up, where I feel like people don't care about me because they don't do their job right, or they're not caring about themselves. I have to catch those thoughts right away. What am I speaking about me when I say that about somebody else? So, when we do that, it not only changes our perception and our situation, but it changes outside, because we're no longer putting negative energy on those people. And they can feel it whether you're aware of it or not. The whole energy changes because I changed my part. Secondly, we may feel truly sick and tired, but it's important to begin affirming that our body knows what it needs to do to rejuvenate itself. To recognize that while we're asleep, perfect health is taking place. Maybe we could take a 2 or 3 minute break during the day and just stop and say, the energy of life is moving through my body now, and I'm ready to be revitalized. Why don't we all say that together? The energy of life is moving through my body now, and I'm ready to feel revitalized. How did that feel already saying that, rather than say, I'm sick and tired? I'm alive. I'm revitalized. Let's look at the statement, give me a break. Again, that's an old statement. It's a cliche. It's an expression about frustration, but it has the connotation that I'm a victim. Give me a break. I never get what I want. Help me out. The principle or the law of action is not a person. It does not judge what we put into it with our words or thought. It does not know what we're implying. It doesn't look at things as right and wrong or any of that thing. It just follows the words. So when you say, give me a break, what could come up? You could end up breaking an arm or leg, or breaking things in your home or your car, have an accident or any of that sort of thing. And then we go, oh, poor me. This always happens to me. Even though we feel victimized on a regular basis, we need to start getting real, beloveds, and say what the truth is, what we really want. That's an affirmation. Not what you're old thinking, not putting yourself in the place of the victim or upset, separate from God. But this is the truth. My body is whole and complete all the time. People treat me with respect because I treat myself with respect. I ask for what I want. I bring in the power of God, and I say yes to God all the time. Any of that sort of things. We could say this: I expect God and good to show up in my life now. Repeat. I expect God and good to show up in my life right now. Ooh, that felt better, didn't it? You can just change the energy around when you see those things and catch other people, because if they're around you saying things, it affects you. That's why I tell you all the time. And I see it happening more and more, how often we are going to apologize for ourselves. I'm sorry. I was in the grocery store, and it happened 3 times with people coming around the car. Oh, I'm truly sorry. And I'm like, for what? Oh, it was my fault. I came here and I almost banged into your cart. And I said, why don't you just say hello? And she stopped and said, okay, hello. And we went on, you know. So when I first started trying to change my thoughts and getting this message when I was in New Thought, I thought, oh my God, this is not good. It's going to take me a while to clean up my act. I've got a lot of negative things that I've been saying over my life. And it didn't seem easy to me at first. But the truth is, as I said earlier, you begin where you're at. So I began with the most blatant self-talk that I had and said, okay, it's time to speak up, clean up my act. Because when I didn't, it had a domino effect. It's like a negative thought statement would say another one and another one. Visualize those dominoes falling around all the way around. So we have to find ways to speak affirmatively, saying what we desire, not what it appears to be, because it's just an illusion out there. What is real for me inside? Do any of you say, I have a hard time with something, getting to bed early, drinking water, remembering to water my plants, take vitamins? I have a hard time doing this. Try saying this. I used to have a hard time going to bed early, but now I can do it better. I used to have a hard time drinking enough water. Therefore, I move it into the past. I used to, and I'm here in present time, and I'm working on it, and I'm getting better at it. I used to have a hard time drinking water, but now I really enjoy it. Another positive statement.
Is that your prop?
Since this came, huh? What?
Is that your prop?
Yeah. Since this came up in the prayer group, I'll say this too. It's the same thing with what's going on in our country right now. I used to believe that I could catch the flu, but I don't believe that anymore. I mean, we got to start changing our thoughts around mass consciousness going on. Do we really want to buy into all this stuff that's going on and saying, oh, I'm going to get sick? And no, you don't have to. You have choice. Every one of us has choice, and God is our health. So for me, every time something starts to go on, like right now, my throat's been out and could be like yesterday or Friday night going, oh, I'm getting a cold. And I'm going, no, God is my health. I know that to be true. And all that's left is a little bit of this leaving, whatever the heck was on, because our body is always communicating. It's always releasing stuff out of it. So let's go to spiritual mind treatment, also known as affirmative prayer. What I really like about science of mind and religious science is the tools that we get through it to really help change our life, and that's what I share here. Ernest Holmes noticed that no matter the religion or the approach to God, many people had answers to their prayers, but others felt their prayers were not answered. In essence, when that happens, we are giving our mind a treatment. We call it spiritual mind treatment. We have to change our thoughts. There's 5 steps to it, so I'm going to briefly go over them for you. Number 1, identification. We have to spend time getting a clear picture of who God, Goddess, higher power is, so that we can get into the feeling of it, that all the good of the universe. So you start off by saying, just like I do in the morning prayers, I see this source, spirit, energy flowing throughout the whole world. It brings in its grace and its joy and all the aspects of love and health in this God is everything in the world. God is everywhere. God has the wherefore to become the experience of my life. So then I go to a unification, meaning connecting with. Once I've acknowledged what God is in my own mind and the person I'm praying for, then I use words to give a sense of how we're a part of this God energy. We are worthy of it because we're a part of God. There's no separation from God because that's all there is. So after I've acknowledged God, whoever I'm praying with, then I say, I know this to be true for myself and I know it to be true for this person. They are experiencing all that God has for them. Whatever the issue that may be going on right then, I specifically connect to that more. Right now, this person is more on a journey of releasing the past around lack and opening up to more prosperity and abundance. Or letting go of the old thoughts of illness and now opening up to health and well-being. So we bring it together and unify with God. And then we get to realization. Now we get a clearer picture of how this perfect change in conditions will make us feel. Back to feeling. We pray in the answer. We pray in God that the answer is here, and this person is going to experience so much abundance of God's abundance and well-being and joy and whatever it is this person wants. This person is now feeling what it feels like to be healthy, how to feel to have all the money they need for their life, even before they need to spend it, how to feel and be in loving relationship and experiencing that with one another, how to be in gratitude about everything that's coming in their life. So that was step 3. Step 4 then is thanksgiving, which is gratitude. Here's the place where many create a sense of separateness or duality because they throw God back out into the ethers. They just say, thank you, God, for such and such. Well, in actuality, what we're giving thanks for is what? The law of life that is always responding to our affirmations. That's what we want to say thank you for. Thank you, God. Yes, I'm happy for the new car I got or this, but I really want to thank you for this principle working and for me opening up to it, for me knowing this truth, for you working through me the way you do all the time. Therefore, I'm grateful for turning it over to Universal Mind and being open to guidance and direction that I now say yes to, because that's what I asked. And then we get, it's just like I said before, be, do, have. This is the being part, beloveds. You have to be connected to God, to the Universal Mind, to Source. And then God will tell you what to do. And you follow that step. You say, good, thank you. It's recognizing that the all-knowing mind probably knows more about this situation and how to bring the pieces together than we could ever know or describe. Didn't I just say that a little bit earlier? God led me here because my mind could not have figured it out. God knows. God sees everything. You need to be here. You need to come here. You need to meet this person. You need to do whatever it is. Yes, God, yes, I'm open to this Universal Mind. And then, I jumped ahead here. Number 5, release. So often that we do our affirmation spiritual mind treatment, but then we mentally keep going back to what we were talking about. Our ego takes us back to it, even though we've done the spiritual mind treatment and it was to let it go and release it. But we go, no, I'm still worried about it. My mind takes me back here. No, beloveds, we have to stop it right now. In the treatment, then you say release. It's cutting the strings of past stuff. It's cutting the strings of our responsibility, our response to what's going on in our life. It's turning it over to Universal Mind, to guidance and direction. Because God knows what it is you need. And you just say, thank you, and I let it go. A customer in a little country drugstore noticed to beware of dog sign, but instead of a well-trained watchdog, he saw a harmless old hound dog sleeping on the floor next to the cash register. The customer inquired, is that the dog people are supposed to beware of? Yes, sirree, that's him, the owner replied. The customer laughingly said, he sure doesn't look like a watchdog to me. Why did you post that sign? Because until I hung up that sign, folks kept tripping over him. Well, I bring that up because we continue to trip over our own roadblocks that we set up in our lives, don't we? Because we thinking something and then we create something. Oh, I didn't want that. And we, something like tripping over it and then have to get back up and practice walking again. It's by all those old unconscious cliches and sayings that we took on that I've gone over some of them. Or that's the past, and then we become too focused on the end results that we'd like in our lives. This is what I want, rather than being in the moment. Starting where you're at, asking God, and knowing it will come. All you have to do is open up and receive it, and be in gratitude. So it's important, beloveds, to focus on the feelings. Keep asking, how do I feel about this? Because attached to the results, to have a full demonstration is to feel those emotions and feelings and change the thoughts. So those are the 5 steps I'm doing when I tell you I do spiritual mind treatment after service. If you need help, those are the 5 steps I go through to help change your mind, wake you up to what it is you want.
Can you summarize those 5?
Yeah. So first of all, we have identification, which is identifying source. Then secondly is unification, connecting myself to the source and to all of what I see about source. The third then is realization, bringing in the other person or the client, realizing what it is that they want and that they have it already there, changing the thoughts. And then 4, we give gratitude and thanksgiving for it, and 5, we release it. And it does great things, beloveds. There's a few people in here that experienced spiritual mind tree with me. So the messages that we've gone over are what? The thing itself, the way it works, what it does, and how to use it. So we'll probably go back over those in the next week or two, but we have gone a lot deeper into our theme for this year. Anybody remember what it is? Living new thought through demonstration. So I'm holding the space that each of you are going to demonstrate at least one thing in your life. And we'll talk about that next week a little bit more. But you're going to do demonstration by living new thought, using these principles, taking them home and work for us. And we'll continue next week with more information that will lead us to demonstration of whatever it is we want in our lives. That sound good? Yes. Namaste. Thank you.